Hi everyone. Hi. My name is Maggie. I will be 37 years old this November. I am. You should not. Just kidding. So I am single. I've never been married. I don't have children. I had a very beautiful childhood until the age of 17, until the age of 18, a week before I clocked 18. I had both my parents and then my brother, who is 2 years younger than myself, and our last born, who is 12 years younger than me. So she came when we had already almost grown up. We were into our teens. I was very good in school, and when I was in Form 3, my mom had an accident, a road accident. So one day, a family that was very well knit and everything just somehow collapsed. My mom brought us, we didn't have those gender roles distinction. My brother and I could wash dishes and do this and that. So we grew up kind of free-minded. But when she passed on and my father was working away from home and who we loved very much, he also had to come home. As a female and the firstborn, the role of a mother automatically transferred to me. And that means, because we had a toddler, my sister was only 6 years old when my mom passed. So that meant I had a toddler on my hands who needed cleaning and feeding and everything. I had a teenager who was my brother, and then I had my father. My father is very generous, the kind who will invite people, and they will come and live with us. And the wife or the mother, who is yours truly, has to take care of everybody else. So for quite some time, I was doing nothing but just the domestic servitude we saw here. I was homemaking, and it took, I will say it took a toll on me, but I would want to think that I am strong because I did very well. My family remained intact until my dad got remarried. So first of all, I was not invited for the wedding. I heard about it. The negotiations I had were done at home because I had been sent somewhere else, and I had to go because they were holding my siblings hostage. So whereas I am open-minded and I am strong and I would actually stand up to people, sometimes I would kind of go down because I needed my siblings to be safe. So my dad remarried, and the wife was not very nice, and my father was also not very nice. But I put up with them. Currently, if you ask them and our extended family, my grandfather had 3 wives. That means, and each wife had more than 8 children. That means we have a very huge extended family. And in our culture, which is the Kikuyu culture, all my brothers, brothers and wives are my mothers, and you know those African traditions. They are all my family. So if you ask them now, they will tell you I am stronger than the chief, or I have more power than the chief. Chief is the kind of person who has authority over everybody, right? But if you ask them, everybody now, they somehow feel I have a lot of power, probably because with my size being a female child, I was just too mouthy, and I would not allow things to just happen. For instance, I said, my sister will not be touched, and neither will my brother be touched. And by touched means those cruel treatments that anybody thinks because there's no mother to protect you, they can do. So I said, this is not happening under my watch. I put my foot down. Of course, you can imagine all my family was against me, but I made it. My sister is doing very well. The lowest point was when, because I didn't have the means, I also graduated from college and I did not get a job immediately. We call it tarmacking, looking for a job. 10 years. And that meant I did not have the resources Remember, because I was serving everybody else, I did not have the time or the energy to look for jobs because I had to stay home and take care of everybody else. So my lowest point was when my sister had to go to UAE to look for a job because she had gotten an opportunity. Thankfully, everything worked out for her. She's doing very well. My brother is married. He has 3 kids. My father, after the insurance money that my mom's company paid, they took the money and the wife and they uprooted our house, the structure itself, and they moved away. I don't know where they live. I just mind my business. Now everybody is a bit safe. Now, I'll tell you why I was telling you that story. You see all those cultural and structural kind of discrimination that, first of all, they are the ones that push you into abuse. Yeah. And then because you're too busy doing things, they will entrench the whole abuse again. So I said I am almost 37 years old, and my people, or most Africans, will say I am overaged for marriage, right? No one wants to know why I did not get married. I was busy taking care of a family, right? I didn't have time for dating or even pursuing my own interest. Apart from getting a job just the other year, my whole life had actually stagnated. I was not doing well at all for myself. So I want to introduce this tool called Story-Teling. I see how, whether that's a true story, it's not fiction. See, because when I introduced the tool that is storytelling, people could assume that it is a fiction because I want to introduce the tool. That's a true story. But I like this tool because somehow when I shared this, I can see from your faces, some of you are really feeling this. Yes. Some of you are actually already seeing so many of my human and gender rights that are violated. Some of you are mind-boggled. So this tool of storytelling is a tool that we can use in our communities. Sometimes we don't know how to get stories from people. Like we have so many guesses and assumptions that this number of women are abused, this number of women are abused. But sometimes when you're dealing with communities and they do not have the capacities to tell their story in a very organized manner, you could use this storytelling tool. See, when someone is sharing, you are already filling in the gaps, and they can share in whichever way they want. So the tool starts with an exposition. Everybody has a story. Some of you have identified with this. So it starts with an exposition. That's the starting point, where life begins for almost all of us. And then it goes on where things start going haywire. We all have different stories, but sometimes when we share, we realize we share more commonalities than differences. And then there is always the climax. In this point is where most of us call the rock bottom, where your life actually seems to get worse and you don't think it could get worse than that. And then the structure of this is called Freytag pyramid. It is in the, you can find it on the internet. I will share my website where I can share more information on these tools. And then there is a way you can actually work on things that are going worse and decide that you are not going to let them define you. And then you can start changing the story for yourself and for other people. So I want to mention a few things why the storytelling tool is important. First of all, when people share their stories, however fast they are sharing or slowly or whichever manner they are using to share their story, we realize that we have more commonalities than differences. Sometimes we deal with women from different backgrounds, but when you share a story and they start realizing, so it's not only my culture, I went through this also, they start feeling like they belong somewhere. Second thing is that with storytelling, contrary to when you're interviewing someone, with storytelling, it's my story. I have the confidence to tell it. There is a common meme or image that joke or ghosts around saying the teacher told them to write a composition about themselves and they got 5 out of 40 and they are wondering, is the teacher me? Does the teacher know me more than I know myself? See, this is the kind of trend that this storytelling tool has. See, when someone feels like they own their story, they are telling their story, they do not feel intimidated. But when I start interviewing, you tell me about the gender issues that your culture is going through. You see, you're already, I shock you into thinking, what exactly is she looking for? Yeah. But you see, when you're telling your own story, you're not expecting, no one can tell me that I got 19 out of 20. It's my story. I know exactly, and I could fill in more details. So this storytelling tool helps you get information from communities, raw data, information that they can share without feeling intimidated. And then something else. Now, with my story, I'm sure there are areas you identified where you feel I have been extremely violated. But I also shared some of the positive things, like the fact that I was raised in an environment where my mom treated us equally. So that kind of gave me some privileges or some strength or some belief in myself. And with storytelling, contrary to interviewing people, you can actually identify when someone is actually highlighting privileges or advantages that they could actually work on. Because conflicts have two ways of changing us. One, they could paralyze you and make you feel like you do not matter, you cannot move on. Two, they could actually be the charging force behind you thinking, I need to make a change. So when you're doing storytelling, you can identify weak points where you need to work on, and you can identify also factors that have worked for you, factors that have enabled you to work on. And when working with communities, sometimes they may have only the victim side of the story, especially if you're interviewing them. Tell us about the abuse that goes on. So they will only think about the abuse. They'll never think of one or two things that actually works for them. And as we mentioned, sometimes in our cultures, we may have saying or some aspects that actually supported the work of women or value women. So sometimes when you're using this story, without having people to see what they are saying or censoring, you may actually identify things that actually work for them and they could start working from those points. Like with the video clip we watched yesterday, when that woman said, actually in the African culture, it is a curse for people to see the nakedness of a woman, especially if she strips willingly. So you see, she started from that point because she knows, oh, you people are always basing everything on culture. How about I use that culture to support myself? How about I use it as a platform to advance myself? So sometimes when someone is telling this story, you could identify stepping stones as much as sometimes everything is grim. You can identify stepping stones. And you can also identify disadvantages, and there are many, but you need to be open when someone is telling their story. That's why this Freytag pyramid, which I will share somewhere in my website, actually helps you see how is this story progressing, how are they changing, how do they think they can change. Because sometimes if you just attack someone and tell me what is it that you're planning to do, they might not be thinking at that time. They are traumatized, they are confused, they don't know what to do. But when they tell their story, actually when they are telling, sometimes you see people when they are telling their story, that is when they are reliving it. Yes. Because they never had anyone to share their story with. Yes. So they are reliving it, or they are realizing, I didn't know that actually I was treated better. You see, and we rarely acknowledge privilege. We rarely acknowledge privilege. We only want to show how disadvantaged we are. So where can you use this tool? One, gathering data, especially when it comes to gender-based issues, whether for men or for women. It is rare for a man to come and tell you, you see, my wife is beating me, all this and this. But if you're just interacting with them and they are sharing their stories, you might actually pick out that they are also experiencing abuse, how the culture is also not supporting them, how the culture is actually exposing them to more abuse. Same case with issues concerning men. And then conflict analysis. Sometimes, and which is one of the reasons why most projects are always going on 10, 20 years and no change has been done. because no one did conflict analysis. I know like 10 or more tools. Actually, most of them are on my website. Most tools help you take a step back. Stop looking at exactly what is happening, but look at the roots. What are some of the issues that actually will help you advance? What are the issues that are going to help you take a course of action? This tool can also be used to do monitoring and evaluation. We mentioned, and I know some people have mentioned, that in peace building or in any community processes, we do not know how to monitor, because sometimes with MLE, in most projects, we only focus on the numbers. How many people got water? We build 10 tanks, we dug 3 boreholes, 10 women have done this and this. But in peace building, it's a bit difficult because it's more qualitative than quantitative. And with this tool, when people are narrating this, you can actually gauge from where this story is coming, or different stories, where they're coming from to where we are. They will tell you, in the past we could not even talk before men. We could not even attempt to go before men. You only serve food and you disappear. We cannot eat with them. But then they will tell you after the interventions, or since you are not here asking them questions, they are telling their stories. You will see, so this is where they are. So they will tell you, oh, and we went to church and we had this meeting and we were actually talking with the men. So you are going to see, they were not talking with the men, but how far is the progress now? At least they're interacting, they're having discussions. But if you ask them, tell us a change story, they think nothing has happened. We have not gone to the parliament. No one has been elected president, but do we have milestones that actually show us where we are headed? Because community processes and change takes time. It's not something like if I switch off the lights, they will just go off and we see the lights went off. The community processes will take long. If it was a community process, I switch off the light, probably they will go off next week and we will not be here, and we will say, those people did nothing. So this is a good tool of helping you gather information when people do not feel intimidated. And this you can even use with people who are using local language, because sometimes you say women have already been disempowered economically. And without the financial and all the other resources, they may not feel in a position to talk. But if you're just talking with them where they are, they will give their stories and you can get the information. Yesterday I mentioned force field analysis. So I will just mention this. Force field analysis helps you see which forces are working towards you and which are working against you. It is a tool of conflict analysis, and it works on actually several factors. Yesterday we had that triangle that was showing the structural and cultural and direct, and sometimes we only focus on what we can see. So this force field analysis will help you not only identify the direct, which is the behavior of what you can see, but also underlying things that may actually work against you. For instance, if you're working on minimizing gender-based violence, whether it is women who are being abused or men who are being abused, what are some of the actors, meaning the people, the institutions that are actually working against or towards what you're doing? Because sometimes when you focus on going this way and you're not thinking of the forces that are pulling you behind, we are always given a story of how drunkards do, how drunkards work. They take one step forward and they take 2 steps backwards. What do you think happens after 10 minutes? Do you think you are only going to count the 10 steps forward? In fact, they will have gone back. So it is important to always work on all this. So with this, it looks like this. You usually have your hindering process. You list attitudes. What are some of the attitudes? Women cannot talk before us, men cannot talk before us. You list all those. What are the behaviors we are seeing? That if I stand before men, they are not even going to listen to you. You list all those. What are the systems and structures? We have the Nyumba or the peace committees, or all those structures that are already disadvantaged some group. So you list all those things. So what you do with this force field analysis, after listing all this, what you're working on is what you call the central element. Maybe Peacebuilding, reducing gender violence, whatever. So what you do, you identify how to reduce. So I had a small key. The hindering forces, you work on the reducing them. Simultaneously, as you work on strengthening, what is working, what. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my presentation. I will leave this with you. So this website is my Peacebuilding and Conflict Transformation. Sometimes I have knowledge, but I don't always have the platform for people, and they're asking questions. I don't know how to share with them. So I will refer you to this. Knock yourself out. It is free. Just check how those tools work, because they really help you in analyzing. There is also one that sometimes I don't have time to update them. I have so many things to do. So this one shares some of those stories that the community wants to sweep under the carpet. When you want to share something, people tell you, you're washing your dirty linen in public. Let's keep those things down. If there is a case of children who've been molested or abused, the community will call the community, the other people that offended, the perpetrators and the victims, and then you pay 2 sodas, we call them soft drinks, and then the whole case is just swept under the carpet because people don't want to address that. So these I share such stories that people don't want to share, so that people can feel it is okay to share this. It is okay to seek help. So thank you very much. Thank you.
We need to talk in details.
Sawa. Thank you.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Sad that you're just talking about this today. Yes. We know it as phobia wife. No storytelling. Because she is phobia, we have something in common. Yeah.
Thank you.
We need to talk to you.
And I must say, yesterday, I went home and I prepared. So here I'm like, I don't know what to say now. I just said it's just
Just say a word.
go directly to Malaka. Now,